What's up, you guys? My name's Savannah. Welcome back to the True Talk podcast. So y'all, I say it every week and it never ends up being true, but y'all, this week it's going to be true. I promise this week's episode is going to be short and sweet. As you can see, I am not in the studio. I don't have a camera. I don't have a microphone. I just have my phone. And if anything, let this podcast show you don't need anything fancy. You just simply need a word, and you need to be willing to speak what's on your heart. So this week, I just want to share a super quick and encouraging message with you all. Okay, so I just want to encourage you guys. This is just super simple, but I just want to encourage you. Prepare what you have prayed for. I know that sometimes in this world, there's a lot of disappointment. There is a lot of hopelessness. There are all these things, and sometimes we will be praying for things, or the Lord will tell us that, He's going to do something, or He speaks to us about something. And instead of us standing firm and believing that word, we have just dealt with disappointment and hopelessness for so long that we just are like, okay, whatever, it is what it is. But I want to tell you that preparation is an act of faith. My pastor said that one time, and it has forever changed my life. There were times in my life where, and still are, where I was like, Lord, how can I show you, that I have faith in you, that I trust you? And it's just as simple as start walking out what it is that He's spoken to you. If He said you're going to have a multi-million-dollar business, it's not just going to be like you're going to make $1 million overnight. You have to go and get business licenses. You have to go through all of these different things. And it may seem like, okay, it's crazy. Why am I spending all this money doing all this stuff? Why am I sitting here going through all this? Why am I doing all this? But it's because you are standing on the fact and believing that God has called you to do a business, and it's for all that. And you can't just, go to step 12. You have to do step 1 through 11. So I just want to encourage you guys this week. If there is something that God is calling you to do, start preparing for it. If God says, I'm going to show you your husband, and you've been praying for 15 years for your husband, and God said, this next year, I'm going to prepare you for your husband. This next year, I'm going to bring your husband to you. If God said that, then start preparing for it, girlfriend. Or if you're a guy listening and God says, I'm going to bring you your wife, start preparing for it. Start doing things and asking the Lord, okay, Lord, what do you want me to do to prepare for it? I think about my sister. I've talked about this so many times on the podcast, I think, but my sister is about to have a baby. And so I'm about to be promoted to aunt status. Whoop, whoop. And I think about all the preparation it has taken for her, and for any parent out there, all the preparation it takes in order to prepare for the baby to come. And so she had to get her a baby bed. She had to get, a bassinet to stay beside the bed. She had to get a changing table. She got clothes and diapers and wipes, and she got, all these things. And, she probably got more things than she needed, because the Lord is just that good and He has blessed us abundantly. But, if she would have just waited until she had the baby in her arms, then it would have been like craziness. But instead, she prepared even though she did not physically have the baby in her arms. And it's the same thing as God. If God speaks something to us, sometimes we're waiting until we hold the promise, when God is saying, stand firm that the promise is coming, and keep preparing, keep, sowing, and keep sowing seeds in the soil, keep preparing, because get ready for what I have for you that's coming. And I think so often we wait for God just to hand it to us, and God's like, I'm waiting for you to move for me to hand it to you. Kind of like you think about Noah and the ark, and what if Noah waited until it started raining to start building the ark? Like, that would have literally defeated the entire purpose of what God had for him. And so it's just like, we cannot wait until the promise starts to be fruitful. We have to prepare before we see the fruits of the promise. We have to prepare before we see the harvest of it. And so I just want to encourage you guys, y'all. I think this is the shortest podcast we have ever done. I mean, we're marking under the 10-minute mark. This is crazy. I want to encourage you, just one, keep believing what God has spoken to you. And if you're like, I don't know if it was the Lord, ask God for clarity. Like, y'all, he is a father and he is a friend, and you can ask him and say, Lord, I want to be obedient. I want to do what you've spoken and you've told me to do, but God, I want to know that it's you. Ask him, maybe ask him to give you a sign, or ask him for confirmation, y'all. I have done that so many times in my life, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think God understands we're human, and especially when you are on this journey of learning to hear God's voice, say, Father, if this was your voice, I need you to show me that it was your voice. And y'all, he's just that good that he will show you. If he has to speak through a burning bush to speak to you, okay, Moses, hear me out. If he has to, he will. So one, stand firm on that promise that God has spoken to you, and ask him and ask him for confirmation that it was him. Secondly, start preparing for it. Start preparing, like right now, I've told you guys in the process with Truly You Clothing Co. Whoop whoop. There's so much behind the scenes work. There is so much stuff for it. But if I just sat around and I just didn't do anything, there would never be a clothing company. But we have to move. We have to do things in order to prepare. And so I just want to encourage you guys, like I said, number one, what is the promise? Stand firm in believing that promise that God has spoken to you. Number two, begin to prepare, y'all. Begin to prepare for what you have coming. Prepare for what you've prayed for. If you've prayed for a husband, y'all prepare your heart. Don't wait until you find somebody to start being a Proverbs 31 woman. Like, that was something for so long that I always was like, well, whenever I find, who God's, called me to be with, I'll do this. And the Lord was like, no, prepare your heart to be a Proverbs 31 woman, not for your husband, but for the Lord. And your husband can just accept the fruit of it, and so it's just like, if whatever you have been praying for, if it aligns with God's will for your life, y'all start preparing, y'all. I just feel like the Lord is just wanting to pour out so much for us. He's just waiting for us to move. And so I just want to encourage you guys with this super, super, super short and quick message for this week. Prepare for what you have prayed for. I love you guys so, 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 so much. And y'all, I am just so excited for what the Lord has in store. And I love you guys. Like I said, y'all, this is the shortest podcast ever recorded on this page. And yeah, this is just exciting. This week exciting news, we actually just literally reached over 1,000 downloads on our podcast, which is crazy exciting, kind of like mind-blowing, but really exciting. So keep sharing, keep spreading the message, and just keep sharing these, y'all. It helps the algorithm. If this encourages you, don't keep it for yourself, encourage others with it. I love you guys so much, y'all. This has been this week's episode of the True Talk Podcast, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye, y'all.